a nursing program, I also want to be involved in the movie industry. I understand that it might sound crazy to want to be involved in such a competitive industry when I can just stick to one that's practically begging to hire people. Unlike many people, this was not one of my dreams for the majority of my life. I daydreamed about the possibility of making movies my freshman and sophomore year, but it wasn't until my junior year that I wanted to make this a reality. I came up with an idea, but I didn't know what to do with it. So, in 2015, my cousin visited for Thanksgiving. I approached her with the idea, and to my excitement, she agreed to work with me. Then that year, starting over Christmas break, we started spending countless hours on FaceTime writing all of our ideas in a Google Doc. That brings us to today. We are currently working on the screenplay, but we still have lots of work to do. There may be some of you that have or have had interest in making movies, so I'll give you some steps on how to get the ball rolling. It starts with having an idea, and when you develop this idea, you make the screenplay. And during this process, it's important to start making connections. Even if you have no interest in making movies yourself, it can be interesting to see all the work that goes into making blockbuster hits. So first, it starts with having an idea, because without it, really you can't do anything. There's no magical formula that I can tell you to get you to come up with an idea. It's just something that has to happen. What you can do, though, is try different techniques to try to inspire yourself. The company Online Film School suggests things like taking a walk and writing down any ideas that come to mind, using your own life experiences, or just brainstorming with friends. As I said before, this is not guaranteed, but with enough determination, you'll come up with something eventually. When using these techniques, there are some important things to keep in mind. The idea needs to be original. It can be easy during the research process to see an idea, forget about it, and then think that idea is your own. The last thing you want to do is write a screenplay for something that already exists. So after this part is done, it is time to create characters and a general plot summary. This can be done in whatever order you want. It really depends on what works best for you. Nikki and I did the characters first because we felt that it would be easier to make a plot once we at least knew a little bit of how the characters would act. So once the general idea is established, you can jump into the screenplay and start writing. But there is another step that Nikki and I did that made things so much easier. We made an outline of all the scenes first. This forced us to deepen the story so that once we actually got to doing the scenes, it was much easier to keep on track. And then after that, we actually jumped into the screenplay itself. As creative writing now states, the screenplay is the written story that is later translated into a visual movie. So it has to be extremely detailed. So right here, I have an excerpt of my actual screenplay. There are a lot of parts that have a lot of cussing and stuff, especially from the character Camille, so I took a milder part. Jasmine walks into the building, taking her bags with her. She drops her bags by the door. Hello? Anybody there? There's a sound of footsteps that is getting louder. The sound is coming from behind a door across the room. Jasmine is unsure of who it could be, so she sneaks up next to the door and takes her pocket knife out. The door then opens and Seth steps out. Hey, who's? Jasmine jumps out and points the knife at Seth's throat. Who the hell are you? Seth gently pushes the knife away from his throat. Whoa, you need to calm down. Takes a deep breath. Might as well introduce myself. My name is Seth. So since you're trying to convey a story to your audience, it has to make sense. If the story is just going all over the place, then your audience will not be able to keep up, and it will just be a full-out mess. It will just be horrible. An important thing to look out for are plot holes. Because plot holes are difficult to see, but they can absolutely ruin your screenplay. So to try to avoid this, you should have as many people edit it as possible so they can kind of point out when they see something's wrong. When you're editing and writing your screenplay, it is important to start making connections. This is extremely vital because this industry, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And then the Film Industry Network suggests things like going to film events, taking film classes, or doing internships. This will connect you to people who are also interested in film, and then you can bounce ideas off of them and create networks, which will be helpful later on. When it comes to being involved in the film industry, it's just something you have to go out and do. Nikki and I had no idea what we were doing when we started, and we're still making things up as we go. This may be a difficult industry, but it's possible. I hope that the movie is successful, but that's if nursing school doesn't kill me first.
All right.